what's going on, everybody? Christopher Inks with Texas West Capital coming at y'all live here just after 11 a.m. Central Standard Time on Friday. What is today? Today is the 25th of July, 2025. Good to see y'all here. Let me see. Man, oh man. So I got to think here. Got a little bit going on, but, if we're looking at Bitcoin, I've seen a lot of really, how do you say this nicely? A lot of people really kind of freaking out, I guess we'll say it that way, about the price pulling back, 3.5%. That's it, 3.5%. And, acting like it's the end of the world and the top's in again and all that other silly stuff. And yet here we are, right? And so I kind of want to talk about that today. But at the end of the day, so far for this summer, it's usually sell in May and go away. But I'll tell you what, if you sold in May, you'd be kind of kicking yourself right now, right? Because stocks are up, Bitcoin's up, even alts have been going up here. And so we're going to talk about that and kind of look and see, well, are alts actually going to continue higher, or are they just kind of set where they are and they're going to go back down? So we'll take a look at all that. Do me a favor, hit the thumbs up, hit the like, hit the subscribe button, share the link, guys. It takes 2 seconds to do, if that. Just get it out there. If you enjoy what you hear here, go ahead and do that. It's your way of helping out, right? Otherwise, we'll continue to be at the very fringe of the financial kind of channels out there. And, people are going to keep following the nonsense. People are going to keep getting wrecked by all the nonsense out there rather than getting a real understanding of what's going on in markets, right? So anyway, yeah. Let's see here. I see there's a few here. I see Peter's here and Mark. Arkham, what's going on there? Data's here. Fibbo's stopping in to say hello. By the way, Fibbo says he can likely join in next week. So we'll have him with his charts on there at that time. Hopefully you guys are ready for that. I know, always ready, right? Sean, Bernardo, I see you guys there. What's going on? Fibbo, no Swanee. But anyway, yeah, markets, are an interesting thing because it is the only place that you find where where basically it goes on sale and people freak out, right? They don't buy when it's on sale. And then they kind of kick themselves as price goes higher. And then they try and find ways in and they get frustrated because then they try to jump in, but they get their stop loss too close and, and it ends up pulling back against them, hitting a stop loss, then taking off without them. These are all the things that we address regularly over at the TWC Trading Academy. And, you're seeing more than a few of our people in here checking in as well. Hey there, Matt, I see you. Jojo Crawdaddy there as well. But, the reality is, guys, the market's going to do a thing. And your job as a trader is not to, or as an investor even, is not to know what it's going to do, because most of the time you aren't going to know what it's going to do. You're going to lie to yourself and you're going to say you know what it's going to do. And it's worse when you really feel confident about something, because then you kind of go all in, right? You start ignoring your risk management and whatnot. But here's the thing. I often talk about, you should never that you should never risk more than 1% of your portfolio in any single trade, right? That doesn't mean that you should risk 1%, right? And this is where it blows people's mind, because if you come in, as most retail traders do, they don't come in with a lot of money. And so they're thinking this is going to be a quick, easy way to make me money. Well, it's not. It's a quick, easy way for you to lose money. That's what the market is. Unless you pay attention, unless you start learning and start understanding what's going on. But you have to absolutely get off all the damn free stuff that's out there, because all that stuff is just the regurgitated nonsense that have kept retail traders broke for years and decades and a millennia, right? I mean, listen, guys, I say this all the time, but I want to keep saying it. If 95+% of retail traders are out of the market, within 3 months of entering it, completely wiped out, lost everything, right? And they're all repeating the same stuff that they're finding for free online. Cup and handle, head and shoulders, all these other things, right? Then wouldn't it seem that maybe you should do something different, right? If you're doing the things that the people that are losing their money are doing, it only stands to reason you're going to lose your money too, right? And we butt heads a lot of times with people that that don't know what they're doing, and they try. Some of them have a much louder voice online than what we do at TWC, and they get you stuck in this idea that that's the thing it is, or you get stuck in this some idiots out there leveraging 50x with $100,000 on on Hyperliquid there. And everybody's like tuned in, right? Because it gets your dopamine going. But that is not trading. That's nonsense. You will not find people who make a living as traders doing any such thing. It just doesn't happen, because we all know you're going to lose your damn money. Okay? But you have to get through this. Everybody has to go through this when they first get in the markets. Everybody has to learn that the way that they think about the markets, the way they think about trading, the way they think about investing, all that is pretty much wrong when they first get in. And only the people that actually, get to the point where they figure that out have a chance at, becoming profitable. And not just profitable here and then losing or whatever, but becoming consistently profitable. That doesn't mean you win every trade. Okay? But this is what we show every week, right? So I'm always trading, at least 3 times a week live with our members over TWC, because I want them to see the reality of it, of what it means to be a trader. The reality that you're never going to be unemotional. Absolutely never. You cannot do it. You have to have a plan in place to deal with the emotions when they happen. Okay? You're not going to become rich overnight. Proper risk management is the end all be all to trading. If you want to have a chance at being successful, you absolutely have to. If you don't have proper risk management, I can guarantee you right now, you will not be a profitable trader. You may get lucky along the way and make a few bucks and maybe even do good on a trade or 3. But ultimately, you're going to lose it all. It's like people that go to the casinos, right? Very, very few actually leave with money. Leave with especially with a substantial bit of money, right? And as long as you're, just kind of jumping in there, and not really worrying about proper risk management, not really trying to understand, where the liquidity lies in the charts, where it's likely to show up, how and why markets move like they do. If you're not trying to learn that stuff, guys, you might as well forget it, right? Contrary to what the people out there that sell their little hawks, and how to trade want you to believe, contrary to what they want you to believe, you're not going to learn to become a consistently successful, profitable trader in a week. You're not going to, not even in a month. Okay. Because first of all, the hardest thing is getting over the things that you think of what it is, and then kind of moving to which is usually 180 degrees different from the way it actually is. That's the hardest part. So you have to overcome that first. And most people never get to that point. But once you do that, then you have to go, okay, so how is it? And then you have to figure, okay, so how do I attack the market then? How do I understand what the market's doing? How do I get out of this nonsense that fundamentals lead price? Price always leads fundamentals, guys. Price happens first. Why? Because it's all about social mood. How do people in general feel? If they feel good, forget what you're reading online. Forget the nonsense online. Look at the markets. How do people feel? If people are genuinely fearful, right, they are not putting money in the markets. It becomes a risk-off market. And not only they're not putting money in, but they're taking money out. Price goes down. If people are feeling pretty safe, they're feeling like they can take chances, they're going to put money in the markets. It is the absolute quickest way you can understand how the collective feels. is whether the markets are going up or going down. So even though you're going to see all these headlines and stuff come out, and this is where retail traders get caught, because you're going to see all these headlines that pop up there about how terrible things are and how this is going. We've had that for how many years now, guys? And what's happened? The markets continue to go up. They continue to rise. And the more they rise, the more crazy the headlines get, and the more, your average retail trader freaks out because they're missing out, but they're scared to get in now, right? It's a self-feeding thing. But your price will always lead your fundamentals. Your fundamentals are always backward looking, not forward looking, right? Oh, forward guidance, blah, 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 whatever nonsense, right? But your fundamentals are always based on what's already happened, right? So you get your numbers, whether it's government numbers like unemployment or interest rates or whatever, it's all backwards looking, home starts, all that kind of stuff. It's all what's happened. All they're telling you is what has happened, right? And people try and figure out, okay, what may happen. But when the market goes up, you know what's happening. People are putting money in the market. Now, I'm simplifying this a bit, but generally speaking, this is the way it is, guys. And if you're out there, and even right now I'm saying this, if you're sitting there shaking your head and arguing with me, saying what an idiot I am right now or something like that, I know that happens. Just understand that you're going to be on the losing end. And I've proven that. I mean, if anything, I've proven that over the last, at least 5 years here, where I've been consistently online, doing these weekly, sometimes multiple times a week and whatever videos, right? Live streams and all that. I mean, so I've shown that what I'm saying actually makes sense, that it actually works. It's up for you to let go of all those beliefs you have. And here's the thing. We have all these beliefs about markets and trading and investing and all this as when we first come into the market, before we've ever actually been in the market, right? How crazy are we to think that we know that we understand what's going on when we've never done it before, right? Oh, but this person said that and that person did. Okay. So one thing you have to understand, first of all, is when you have the big money managers on there talking and whatnot, there's two things potentially going on. One is they're trying to get you to think a certain way to get hopefully a reaction overall, right? Especially when they got big platforms like CNBC or something like that, that's beneficial for whatever their book is, okay? The second thing is they have a crap ton more money than you will have. So it doesn't take big movements for them to make big money. So when you're trying to listen to these bigger guys about what's going on, and oftentimes they're going to make it much more complicated than it needs to be, right? You don't need to know a lot about this stuff and understand a lot about this, about what's going on in order to trade effectively or in order to invest effectively, right? You don't. If you can understand where liquidity maps out on charts and where it's potentially going to map out, that right there already puts you eons ahead of most people out there, because you're being proactive, but it allows you to understand where you can be reactive, right? You're not just automatically price shoots up and you get FOMO and you jump in, right? Or price drops and you get scared and you jump out without knowing what's going on, right? You've got an idea of what may be setting up. So we're going to look at the Bitcoin chart in a minute here. And if you're in TWC, then, and I posted things later on X there, but we were looking, at a potential triangle, but we needed it to break through a certain level in order to confirm that. It did not. Now, if you had been in our Elliott wave class yesterday, we talked about the alternate, which is what I posted, I believe it was this morning on X. But people in TWC knew it there. They knew it, at the end of the day analysis, they knew it all that ahead of time, which is this idea that we had a local triangle in wave B going, and price was going to likely dip down, sweep the low in the range there, which is what it did. So, understanding what may happen and where price may go based on, structure. So you have to understand what structures is potentially building itself there. But then you have to understand, okay, well, with that structure, what does that mean in terms of liquidity? So you don't have to assume that just because it breaks down at a local level, something you're seeing on the 1 hour, that it has to go down $10,000 or something silly like that. Because then you end up waiting, right? And then when it bounces, it goes back up, you're still holding waiting. And it continues going higher and you're still waiting. And then it gets back to the high. And now you're like, well, God, I missed this whole run up here. But if I get in now, it's probably going to come back against me, right? And then it breaks out and you're like, oh, okay, I'm going to jump in, get FOMO. And you jump in, and what happens most of the time when you guys do that? Price turns back against you, right? And it hits your stop loss, knocks you out. And then what does it do? Continues going in the direction you were thinking it was going to go anyway, right? And this is why retail traders get so frustrated with trading. But absolutely every step along the way there was driven by their own decisions. It is completely 100% their fault, the outcome. Whether it's good or bad is your fault, right? Oh, but so-and-so online said this. I don't care. Who had to make the trade? You actually had to, not them. They said, listen, my analysis says this. Maybe they're right, maybe they're wrong. You ultimately are the ones that's taking the trade or not taking the trade. Beyond that, are they using, or even are you using, proper risk management, right? Those are the things you figure out. And it's, too many people get on there and they just get stuck, right? They get stuck. And the first thing they say is, it's somebody else's fault. But what do we talk about all the time? You absolutely 100% have to be able to take responsibility for your own actions. You have to understand, it can't just be words. Excuse me here. You have to believe that whether you do well or you don't do well, it is 100% on you, because you are the one making the decisions when to enter, if to enter or not to enter, all these things, right? You're the only one making those decisions. But stop with the buts. Step up, take responsibility. Because when you take responsibility, that then forces you to sit there, okay, well, if I want to get better, I need to figure out what I did wrong so that I don't repeat it again. As long as it's always somebody else's fault, you're going to continue to make the same mistakes you've made. And I'm going to tell you what right now, folks, it's not just in trading, it's in life. It's not just in trading, it's in life, right? So hopefully, you guys are starting to get there if you're not there yet. If this was easy, if what I'm telling you was easy, everybody be doing it, everybody be profitable in trading, right? But it's not easy. It's simple, not easy. Like trading. Trading is simple. Price moves toward a liquidity. That's what it does. That's as simple as you can make it. It's not easy though, because you have to deal with what? Your emotions, the way you think things should be versus the way they actually are. We get caught up that in all facets of our life, folks. Not just trading. You get in trading, you think, okay, trading should be like this. Price should move like this. But it doesn't, right? And then when it doesn't, we get upset and we start screaming manipulation and all this kind of stuff. And it's all just nonsense. You're trying to force price to do what you think it needs to do. In life, you're trying to force your loved one, your partner in the relationship, to do what you think they should do. At a job, you're trying to force your company or your boss to do what you think they should do, not what actually they're going to do. And as long as you fight the tide, you're going to end up losing. This is the long and the short of it, guys. All right. Let's see here. What are you guys saying here real quick? Well, Zobia Dollars, what's up, my man? Good to see you checking in. Arkham said TWC is awesome. Really good content. Arkham just joined with us, by the way. So, if you always, you're sitting here going, oh, I don't know, it's a scam or it's nonsense or whatever. You can speak to somebody like Arkham and they'll tell you, they just joined in there, they'll tell you that what I say about what we have there is what it is. I'm as transparent as I can possibly be in there. Every trade, every analysis, everything's on there. And when things are wrong, we go back and we discuss why it was probably wrong. because again, the reality is in trading, you're going to get it wrong. And the newer you are, the more wrong you're going to get it the more often, which is why, again, I keep pushing, proper risk management is so important. It allows you to survive all that time you're going to be wrong at first as you start learning and start becoming experienced so that you have money when you start getting it. You're not going to get it tomorrow, guys. Stop giving money to people that say, oh, they'll teach you how to be profitable tomorrow. That's BS. I mean, I'm teaching you how to be profitable right now. It doesn't mean you're going to be profitable tomorrow because it takes a lot of change in the way you think and view things and the choices that you make along the way. And you have to learn, right? Just because I say it's moving from liquidity, the price moves through liquidity, doesn't mean that you know where that is or even what liquidity really means, right? Words like that are thrown around so loosely in social media. Your big accounts copy each other. Have you guys noticed that? Your big accounts pretty much all say the same thing all the time. So maybe that should kind of get you thinking, okay, maybe I should take a step back and kind of think a little bit more through what they're saying and maybe look up some information if I can or talk to some other people. You got to be careful with that out there. Let me see here. Chris, what's up, man? He said, Chris just taught me risk management. Best thing I've ever learned in my trading career. Join TWC. Yeah. Again, because that's the only thing you control, guys. No matter how good something looks, there's no guarantee it's going to play out that way, right? Think about it. How many relationships have you been in where the person you're with, you thought, man, they seem so amazing at first, right? And you're caught up in that glow at the beginning. And then as time moves on, and you spend more and more time from them, you go, holy crap, there's something wrong with this person, right? Or they're nowhere near as calm and collected as I thought they were, right? Or there's this or there's that, right? These things that at first you think things are a certain way, and then you find out they're not really. And we deal with a lot of that in life, okay? Let me see here. My camera's not on full screen. Oh, it does it with this. I don't know how to get it any more full than this right here. This is the full screen setting layout on it. So I think it's because I have a background on there. Let me see something here real quick. I don't know that I can even take this off anymore. That's the background right there. Yeah, I don't know. This is unfortunately, it is the one setting which has it all on there. So make your screens bigger. Accountability is a hell of a drug, Mark says. Yes, it is, right? It really is now. Peter, what's up, man? It says, been at TWC for a year now. What a journey it's been. I've become a much more profitable trader, and the alpha is next to none. I appreciate that, man. Again, because it's easy for me to come up here and say, listen, if you're willing to put in the work, I'm willing to bend over as backward as possible to help you. If you want to just come in and blame everybody, though, I'll try and help you, but it's kind of hard to put a lot of effort into somebody who's really not putting that effort they need, which is the understanding and the truth, right? That the world is not against you, that you have decisions to make, and there's going to be repercussions from your decisions, whether they're good or bad. But just because you make a bad decision doesn't make you a loser or doesn't make it, something so terrible, right? You just have to learn from that so you don't repeat that mistake. That's the goal. That's the key in life. Always be learning. ABL, right? How many of y'all live by that always be learning idea? I do. Every day I'm trying to learn something new in anything. It's part of the reason why I've got, all the stupid paper I have, right? Started off with an associate's degree, then a bachelor's degree, then a few master's degrees, and then a law degree, but it was because for me, I just want to keep learning, right? Now, so much of this information is online. There's absolutely no reason why you shouldn't be learning, guys. But don't just learn within like trading, but learn with everything else because it keeps your mind fresh. It keeps you going. It keeps you thinking. And I'm going to tell you right now, the more you can think, the more creative you can get, the more you've got those juices going, the better your trading has a potential of becoming. Because you start thinking outside of just the one thing that some large account online is saying. Okay. Let me see here. Hey, Gray, MK2, what's up? What's up? Oh, man, Chris bringing up the Leroy thing. Yeah, we have a lot of fun. I try to have a lot of fun, especially when we're doing the live trading. So, yeah, Leroy was one of those things. But anyway, let's go ahead and jump in here, guys. Let's look at some of these charts here, all right? Let me see. Let's pull us in. And let's kind of pull us down here a bit. Okay, so I tried to be on Scott's show Wednesday, if those of you might have tried to see that, and you noticed there was no sound. I don't know what happened. Obviously, just like, 2 hours later, it was working just fine with Beards and Bitcoin. So I'm not sure that. I guess it was just some kind of glitch that StreamYard was having right then, because I use StreamYard as well. That's what I'm using here. But one of the charts I wanted to bring up was this Bitcoin dominance chart, right? Because everybody's screaming, "Oh my God, it's falling off a ledge, falling off a ledge," And when I looked at this, my first thought was, well, we've got this strong move down. We've got what appears to be 3 waves up, and we got this move down. So my thought was, this looks like a flat correction, where you get 3 waves down, you get 3 waves up, and then you get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 waves down. And in doing so, it would print potentially a spring on the range here. Now, so far, so good. We do want to see some continuation back up in here. We want to see a reclaim of this range, which is right down there at 61.89. So we kind of went up there and pulled back, went up there, we pulled back. But you can see here, this is the 3-day. Reset on RSI, down and oversold. Stochastic RSI, down and oversold. Weekly stochastic RSI, oversold. Right here, let me see here. Oh, looks like we've got some hidden bullish divergence on the weekly. Let me see here, current interval only. So from back here, the week of December 2nd, 2024 to now, which is all about 7 months. Talk about from this swing low to this swing low. Well, actually, it looks like it's this black area here. But generally speaking, we've got lower lows with the oscillator here, and we've got higher lows here. Now, that doesn't mean it has to stop there, right? But for right now, we're going to watch that, right? So when I look, I go 1, 2, 3, 4. I'm thinking 5, and then potentially a flat here. That flat's pulled back just beyond 38.2, almost 50%. So that's a really good flat. We had this capitulation type volume coming on this move down. So again, this holding right here, this previous resistance support level, this is right here, guys. See if I can put this on here. Right there. The resistance support, that's where we're hitting right here. So, is that the bottom? Potentially, but we do want to see some movement up here further into it. But again, I don't think that your Bitcoin dominance is really the indicator it used to be, as far as, money, rotating through the market, like what you expect with alts and whatever. Again, because so much money, so much institutional money continues to flow into Bitcoin overall. Now, we do see a lot of institutional money lately flowing into Ethereum, and that's fine. That's good, okay. But I still think that, with the Bitcoin dominance, that we can see Bitcoin dominance continue to trend upward even when alts are making profits as well. Okay? So does that make sense? So that's where I'm kind of looking at with that. So I wouldn't say to sit here and watch the dominance, the Bitcoin dominance chart, as some indicator of when you can make money in alts. I think, again, we're going to continue to see it overall rally higher, with alts still going higher. Let's see here. Now here is Bitcoin. Look at this right here. This is the daily. We've got, again, hidden bullish divergence Oh, I'm sorry. We've got one. We're not going to get it there. Nope, nope, nope. Okay, well, we were pulled down earlier. We had this down a bit earlier. So we had lower lows here in the oscillator. We had higher lows here. But it's not here now. That's fine. It is what it is. It's all right. But what we do have here, again, we were looking at this being like an A, B, C, D, E as a potential triangle for breaking out higher, right? But we needed, in that case, this was an A, this was going to be a B. So we needed the breakout above the wave B up here at 121.012 on this chart. I actually posted a few days back this right here and said we needed that breakout there to kind of confirm this. We had to have, this was wave C at the time. I said we had to have that hold, and then we had to have price breakout above wave B to confirm the triangle. We didn't get that. It broke down. So what does that mean? Well, during yesterday's Elliott wave session, one of our head traders, Andrew, was in there, and he asked, he said, well, could this be just an interior triangle for a wave B and then lower down? And I said, yes, definitely possible. And if we lose that wave C there, support, that's probably what we'd be looking at. So if we get in here now, and let me kind of zoom in here a little bit so you can see it better. Let me see. And so basically you have wave A down, and then you have 3 up for A, 3 down for B, 3 up for C, 3 down for D, 3 up for E here. And that's how you complete your triangle. This is the only triangle that matters, guys. I'm going to tell you right now, if you're still trying to do the price action triangle, where it's just basically, you know, think there's consolidation and they go, oh, look, it's a triangle because it's consolidating. Now there's a 50-50 chance of whether it breaks up or whether it breaks down. No, don't go into that nonsense, guys. Okay? Let me hit all intervals here. Go and learn. If you're going to learn, at least with Elliott wave, learn what a proper Elliott wave triangle is, because then you will know it's always a continuation pattern. Always. There is no 50, it might break up, 50, it might break down. Okay? So you get your A, you get your triangle for B, and then you get your move down for C. We had an initial target right about here at about 114.8 or something like that. And then a secondary target right here at the 114.300 area. So we dipped down through it, closed back up. So the 12-hour looks good. We pulled back down in the wick here again, pulled back up. What we did is we pulled into this 12-hour, or you can jump it over here to the daily, right? This daily fair value gap. And I don't know if this is going to show it. It doesn't seem like it's putting together that VRVP over here. But what you'll see right here, if that volume was on the side here, you'd see that there's a low volume node right here. And so usually you don't just dump right through it. You'll hit it a few times if you're going to go through it and then go through it. Or when you shoot up through it like this, you'll come back and retest it before you continue on. So again, these are things, you know, that we teach all the time over there at TWC. But this is what I'm looking at here. So what does this mean? Put really simply, if we can break out above 119.540 and 63 cents here on this is the Bitcoin all-time history index chart here. So whatever that level is on, you know, Binance or Coinbase or whatever chart you're looking at, it should be right around 119.450, 550, right around there. If we break out above that, that locks this in as 3 waves. That's corrective. And we head up. And so currently, based on the height of this pullback here, right? Quick little price action target, 128 and a half, 129, right up in that area is the pattern target based on the height there. So break out above 119.540, you should be looking at least around 128 and a half. Does it have to get there? No. Does it, can it go higher? Yes. But you start with a pattern target and then you work out with the liquidity as it forms. And one of the easiest ways to do that, of course, is through Elliott wave, if you do it correctly, right? So as far as Bitcoin goes, wouldn't be surprised to see this be the lower very near here and have this breakout higher. Now, if it continues to break down lower, well, what are we going to do? Well, in that case, let me see here. Let me see where we are. By the way, you'll notice all we did was come in sideways, drop to the yearly pivot, rally up to the yearly R1. I mean, that's been an easy trade, right? But if we happen to really push on through here, the expectation would be a move all the way through this fair value gap. So all the way down to around 112,000 at least. You've got this sideways here. So you have this previous all-time high right here, which, as you can see, so I do this right here. There we go. It's the bottom of the fair value gap, right? Look, hit it, bounced up, and took off through it. You look there, and you look right here in this area here, where you have all this overlapping right about this 108.9. So if we were to continue to break down aggressively into this, there's a good chance we could at least get to the bottom of it around 112, and potentially, here at 110, 5 or 6, and then down here around 109, basically. Those would be the targets I'd watch on the way down. Simple, clean, easy, quick. Find it there. But my initial thought is we've got a triangle here. We got a pullback. And with my count that I have, this pullback here, let me see here, right about there, right? We're hitting that 50%. So we get like a 1 and a 2, and then a 1, 2. Then we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So we get 1, 2, 3, 4. 50% is the secondary wave 4 pullback. So far, things are aligning pretty well. Again, still need the breakout above 119,540.5 there to confirm it. But right now, with this count coming off the low here, this is, again, a wave 4 pullback to 50%, secondary wave 4 target that we always look for. Right there where we lack liquidity. Fair value gap, whatnot. Like I said, you would see here it's a low volume node if this stupid thing would come on, which for some reason it's not coming on here. Reset on stochastic RSI, capitulative volume on the last candle so far on this move down. I mean, everything's screamed. We're right above the S1 pivot here on the weekly. Again, right there, the fair value gap. So, I mean, everything's basically screaming, let's go higher. We need it to go higher to do it, but it's screaming. There it is. Look at the volume all up in here, right here. Got this big volume base building as well. So that's what I'm looking at there. All right. And that's why there's no hopium in that. There's no, I'm just bullish and that's all they can be. No, I'm saying, listen, these are the levels we're looking at, and this is why. There's always a reason why. You can ask these guys here. I probably drive them crazy because I always explain why. Right? And I've been doing that we've been doing TWC for 8 years now. And I've always, from day one, done that. I sit here and explain. Because the goal is, if you're in TWC and you're listening, and paying attention, I'm trying to get you to learn. It's not good enough for me to say, listen, it's just going to pull back here and go that way. You don't learn anything with that. You just say, oh, okay. Well, what the hell are you paying for then? Right? So you have to understand where that liquidity is and where it isn't. And, things like Elliott wave and Wyckoff, and even some aspects of pure price action can help you understand structure, the structure that's developing, what may be going on there. And those two things together are going to put you just so far ahead of most everybody else. But guys, listen, Wyckoff is not just looking at price action and going, oh, it looks like this little schematic, so it's going to do this thing. That's not Wyckoff. Wyckoff necessarily is price action plus volume relationship at specific areas within the range. Right? That's exactly what it is. It is specific, right? You have to have it. You can't just look at this and go, oh, this is distribution or reaccumulation or accumulation or whatever, because they all basically look the same. They all basically look the same. Right? Arkham says, I believe Bitcoin is dumping because of that 1 billion sell. Yeah, but yeah, okay. But how does that help you any, right? If instead you understand the structure of what we were looking at, right? So if instead you understood we were looking at this whole thing as a triangle and it needed to break out here to confirm it. But if it broke down below here instead, it was likely going to break down below here, which would invalidate the triangle. And then we have this with the interior triangle and the move down to this area. You don't have to worry about, oh my God, is $1 billion of Bitcoin going to be sold or going to be bought or whatever. You don't have to wait till that information comes out. You already understand what's likely to happen one way or the other. And you've got your levels that tell you. And they're not just levels because, I want to put the levels there. These are the levels that are required to confirm things, right? So again, it's already in that structure. And then people go, well, that's weird. How can you predict that $1 billion is going to be sold? No, it's not. It's not that we're predicting $1 billion is going to be sold. But what we're saying is the market in general is still kind of iffy at the moment, or profit taking. They haven't confirmed that they're ready to buy, consistently yet. Now, if they get past that certain level, then hey, we believe that. If they don't do that, then they break it. Well, it's still part of that continuation. The trend is already in, right? Does that make sense? And that's what I'm trying to help people to do, whether it's here or most especially over in TWC, is to help you understand that you don't need to worry about all that. You could trade the charts without ever hearing anything about anybody selling, anybody buying, no financial news at all, no government information, no unemployment, no interest rates. You can trade profitably without any of that. And I would argue that oftentimes hearing that information, especially if you're newer, is going to make it much more difficult to trade. Because it's going to get you, remember I said earlier, we often in life, we tell ourselves, we fight against what is happening because we think it should happen a different way, right? Oh, this thing should happen. Price should do this. She should act like that. The company should do that, right? And to our detriment, we fight against what's actually happening. And that's what happens a lot of times, especially with retail traders, when it comes to news events. And part of that is because when we're listening to it, right, you hear it from a account that has a lot of followers. And inherently, you start to think that, they got a lot of followers, so they must be right. Even if you don't consciously think that, subconsciously you do. So what does that mean? That means all of a sudden you start thinking that's what needs to happen. And then when it doesn't happen, you keep saying, well, it's going to happen. It's going to happen. You know those people that have been saying the top is in? Every time we made a local top over the last, since the bear market low in 2022? Y'all know what I'm talking about, right? Those people out there that you hear, every time we make, they go, the high's in, the top's in, the cycle's over, right? I've said it 6-10 times over the last few years. That's what happens. You find it really difficult to get away from that. And that screws you because you can't actually trade what's happening because you're too busy arguing with yourself about what you think is supposed to happen or what should happen. Once you learn to trade with charts and you stay away from the noise, it becomes so much easier. Life is so much less stressful. Okay? It really is. But for most of y'all, you're not going to do that, right? You're going to stay on social media. You're going to continue to, and even if you're trying not to follow those accounts, guess what? The algorithms are going to throw those accounts up in your timeline constantly. And what did I tell you about the big accounts? They tend to copy each other, right? They tend to all say the same thing. So now not only is it just one person with a large account, but maybe 5 people with large, between them, they have millions of followers, right? All saying the same thing. That, regardless of whether you want it to or not, or whether you are expecting to or not, it's going to put a lot of subconscious pressure on you. And again, it makes it really difficult to do. Okay? So that's what we try and do at TWC, right? We try and get you outside the noise and into the charts. Now, once you get good at that, and you start understanding that, you can start predicting, right, that something's going to happen potentially around this price level. But again, price action and news events happen all day, every day. We only associate them together when it serves us, right? But you can say, listen, well, this was going to happen here, right? And they're like, oh, but for instance, Arkham brings up a good point here. $1 billion being sold, right? Well, okay. But again, if you're looking, at what's going on here, we're already in a downtrend here. And we knew that if we lost this low, we were going to continue down lower to here, right? So, I mean, we were already prepared for this. We didn't need to know that $1 billion are going to be sold in there and send us down. We knew that the levels we were looking at were here and here. And here, if we drop below that, it would come into this. It would morph into this structure. If it went out here, it would stay the other structure, head up. Didn't have to know about the 1 billion coming in, right? Just had to wait for the move. So we're proactive in understanding what we're going to do and when based on the structure and the potential structure, right? Which then allows us to be reactive when it happens. We're not just straightly reactive, with, oh my God, it hit this level and then we got to do something, right? But over in TWC, we teach you how to understand where you should be looking, right? Even if you're trading on the 5-minute chart, which again, we trade on the 1-minute chart, the 15-second chart when we do our live trading, right? But we have bigger understandings of where we're looking to trade based on the larger time frames. That's an important part of trading properly. You don't just pull up a chart and go, well, I'm going to trade the 15-minute chart today and here. I mean, you're luckily maybe you get something local you can trade, for a few dollars, but you don't, that's kind of where you end up. There's so much more out there for you to accomplish with that. So anyway, total 3. Look at this move up, right? So, again, right down here, this is that April 7th pullback here. Move up, right? But even more importantly, this down here All right. Can you guys see me? Hear me? All right. Can you guys see me? So you guys let me know if you can see me or hear me here. Oh man, so StreamYard went down. I was like, what the heck? I'm sitting here talking to you. I don't even know exactly where it went down because I was looking at the other screen there. I apologize, guys. That was not my fault. That was StreamYard. I posted an image there on Twitter. So hopefully, if you see that, you can see it's back now. Oh, man. Yeah. So anyway, let me see. Let me try to get things back up here again. Let's see here. Let's put this here. So this is where I was, or I was trying to be. I'm not sure what y'all got here. Yeah, everybody, y'all can see me, right? Let me type in here. Restart your tab if you don't see anything. Let's just put that in there, and that might help. Yeah. Let's see here. It was my fault. If you were talking about accountability, well, I mean, if you have something to be that you be accountable for, I have no control over that, right? You can only be accountable for the things you have control over. I had no control on StreamYard going down there with Cloudflare. So yeah. Now there's the other. I'm glad you bring that up. So there's the other part. Worry about the things you have control over. Don't waste your time worried about stuff you don't. When it comes to trading, the only thing you have control over is how much you lose. Doing this stream, the only thing I had control over was doing the stream, right? I don't have control over whether StreamYard goes down or not. So there we go. What a day. Anyway, so I'm not sure what you guys may have heard here about this, but what I was trying to say was, it looks to me like we've got this kind of leading diagonal thing going on here. And then, so it gets us a 1 and a 2, 3 and a 4, and then looking for a 5 up, right? So we've got a 38.2 pullback, which is our initial, wave 4 pullback is 38.2% of wave 3. So we've got that set up here. So I'm thinking we break out higher, and the 1618 on this, that pattern target is 1.02 trillion. So what does that mean? That means, generally speaking, alts should be expected to rise at least one more time here. And so I don't think alts are done, but I don't know if you guys saw this part, but I was talking about the fact that we bottomed out here with alts back all the way over here in June of 23. Since then, we're up almost 400% on total 3 here. And, again, if you've been paying attention, a lot of alts have had multiple X returns over that time, right? So again, why are we waiting? Why is everybody just focusing on some alt season that may or may not come? Why are you not looking at the charts and finding trades to take for the last year? Do you see how that doesn't make any sense? So, again, if you're waiting for things like alt season or whatever, you're already behind. And this is something, again, that I talk about and I discuss constantly at the Academy, is this idea that people are waiting for things to happen, significant things to happen, rather than being already in the trade before they happen. So they become the people that buy the FOMO and hope they're right. And most of them end up losing money, right? Whereas us over at TWC, we're buying this area. We're buying this area or this area right here, right? We're not buying this area up here. We might be buying this right here, but we're already in down here and down here on the charts. That's what you should be doing. You should be focusing on, how do I understand the structure that's developing and where liquidity lays right now and where it may lay as price continues to move, why am I joining in with the FOMO when I can understand that structure and that liquidity prior and I can get in on the big moves, right? I'll be honest with you guys. The biggest, I'm not like I'm not honest with you, but the biggest trade that we've had at TWC in the 8 years I've been there, right, was a few years back. There was a chart naked, and we bought at 8 and 10 cents, right around that 8-10 cents area. That ultimately ran up to like $52 or $54. We bought in, and I did this with everybody there. I said, this is where we need to be buying, and we talked about it. Some people got out at $1.35 when got the first move up in the pullback. Others kind of waited a little bit further, right? But you had the opportunity to be up there, okay? So in TWC, that was the biggest trade setup that we've had in there. But we've had a lot more since then. And maybe not quite that big, but they've been pretty substantial. And they've come with understanding the structure and the liquidity so that you can get in these areas here rather than waiting to get in here or up here, right? Which is what, most retail tends to do. Imagine being able to consistently get in before the FOMO and be comfortable about that entry. That's what you should be doing as traders. You shouldn't be figuring, oh my God, I got to get in because it's running all of a sudden, and then try and figure out, oh my God, how far do I have to hold on? Where do I need to exit? You've already lost. If you're getting in up here, if you're doing here, you've already lost. You're already behind. You should be down here getting in. And you should understand why, right? Ethereum. Right here, resting on this monthly R3 pivot right here, had this nice aggressive movement up. That aggressive movement says we should at least hit the R4, if not the R5. Let me see if I can turn these around, put the prices on here. So what does that mean? Generally speaking, just on this aggressive movement through the pivots, which again, just another thing I teach, means 4,020, maybe 4,400 up here. All-time high is 48.6781. Almost on, this is the daily here. Stochastic RSI is getting near to oversold here, right? If we were to break down below this swing low right here at about $3,507, I could see us potentially getting down here. 3,200 to 3,300. But my thought is that would be as far as we go, and we'd rally back up. If this doesn't hold right here, if this holds right here, pattern target is up here at basically $4,090, just prior to this local swing high up here at 49.01. Now, this beautiful structure here. Beautiful structure. So again, I think Ethereum ultimately continues higher. Now, could it see a dip down lower here? Potentially. I'm not planning on the moment, but if it does, again, we'll be looking at 3,200 to 3,300 area. This trade is still going here from down here. This trade, entry right there, 2,600 or so. Stop loss right there, 25.10. Looking to get up there around 41.27. That's going to be almost a 17R trade when that's said and done. But look at our target right here, right up around that area. And I drew that from back when we were down here. Back here in a few weeks back. So yeah, we can do that. So I think Ethereum still got further upside there. Bonk. This is a chart we discussed. I think we discussed this one in Monday's Wyckoff class, I think. But we got this great, it just looks like a large accumulation structure here. Right here, based on this being, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe C here. Based on that 1, 2. Minimum expected wave 3 target up here at the 66.14. That's minimum expected. As the next move up here, and then of course further upside. But I like bonk on this weekly time frame. And here we are, by the way, trying to break out above the yearly pivot. We've kind of wicked out above it. We're kind of sitting on it here. On the daily, we're resetting stochastic RSI here. It looks like it's got some further upside. Continue up. It may pull back a little bit first, but again, ultimately looking to head higher there. I like bonk on the weekly. SUI. I like SUI still. Again, looks like a 3-wave pullback. It's a 38.2 retracement, which is what we expect for a wave 4, first initial target. Finding support at the S1 pivot here on the weekly. So, if this is holding here and we break out above $4 and 0.0971, that's going to give us a pattern target based on the height of the pullback here, up there around $4.78. Right there. So I'm looking for that breakout above 4.097 to give us that target of 4.78. And by the way, a lot of your alts have got basically a 38.2 or a 50% pullback here. They look like fourth waves with one more wave push up higher. So it's not just one or two, it's a lot of them. Right? What's the next naked chart? I don't know. I don't know. That was insane. It was a really great, a really great buy in there. But it's not anything we haven't done before. Carvana. We were looking at a buy around, was it $3 to $4 area, $5 right around there. And that thing's up how far now? Do you guys know Carvana? Let me show you. CVNA is the ticker. Let's see if we can get it there. Yeah. Look at this. Let me bring that here to the weekly so it's easier to see. Look at this. Down here between $3 and $4. That was the low there. This thing has rallied. Does this tell us right here? No, that doesn't. Let's get it here. Get that up there. This thing has rallied so far 9,877% since this low here in December, end of December 2022. How would you like to have been in that one? Guess what? You could have. It was a trade we talked about getting long at down there. Okay. And so there's just constantly like this, right? Robinhood. Oh my God. Robinhood was another one that we did. Hood. Let me see here. Hood. We were in down here around $7. Whoops. Where were we at? Yeah, right here. We were talking about it way back over here. Matter of fact, our head trader, Andrew, and I were very adamant about it down here. $7. Now, I don't know if wave 1 is done here, but this is where we've got so far, right? I don't know. It looks like 1, 2, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Probably 3, 4. Got another push higher from down there, right? What about coin? Were you all in on coin? We were. Coin. Coin's been a great one. Because when Kramer was like, buy, buy, buy over here and said, oh, it's so great, it's going to go up. I was like, no, it's going to have to come down a while first. And we got down here and we were excited down here around $40 to $50 in this area. And we've gone up to what so far? 444? Right up here? All-time highs, basically. I'm going to have to come in here and probably work on this count a little bit, but nonetheless, this is what we teach, right? Because this is what you should be. You should be able to get in here. You should be able to get in, here. You should, y'all know by now, my Solana story, right? I mean, y'all know that. If you're brand new here and you've never heard it, guess what? Right here. If she still got that video up from 12/30/2022, you'll see me talking about it, and a $15 target initially. You should be able to get in there. And it wasn't just because, I'm just throwing it out there. I mean, guys, I'm showing you this happens consistently, right? What's the other one? Link. Link's another one, right? Whoops. Got a lot of stuff on here. Let's see. Yeah. Link. This is the one where, let me see. Yeah. Where we were talking about this was going to be this was accumulation here. And right when we were about coming over in this area, I said, we're probably going to dip down. Buy it if you can get it $4 to $5 on a dip below that. It'll print a spring. It's exactly what happened. If you're not buying this kind of stuff, guys, if you don't know how to do this, what are you even doing as a trader, right? If you're in the markets and you're trading, your goal is to get knowledgeable as fast as possible. But y'all want to fight out there. You want to argue, I don't need nobody to show me how to do this. I can do it on my own. Sure, maybe. First of all, most people don't, okay? Most people do not. That's reality. Maybe you're special. Maybe you are. But here's the reality of it. It's going to take you a hell of a lot longer to figure it out on your own. Get a mentor, guys. Get somebody that can help you understand it quicker. The money you're paying, think of it as a way to buy down the time it takes you to get where you're trying to get, right? Because learning by yourself may take you 5, 6 years, 7 years, maybe a little bit less. If you're paying the right person, maybe you learn in 2 years, maybe you learn in 1 year. Again, Vince and Andrew, our head traders, both did it in just about a year with us, right? We've got so many other people, and then they kind of, sharing their stories. Mav just shared a story in the gathering room there, one of the public, or one of the chats we have in there, talking about his growth as a trader, and talking about when it finally clicked for him, right? We got Jonathan, who's been with us 6 months. And he shows up. He shows up to all the live tradings we do and everything, right? And he just sent me a text the other day, a message, let me know that his account is finally in the green in 6 months. It had been in the red so bad for so long. I've passed 5 prop accounts now, 6 prop accounts now in front of our students live trading. You want to learn to prop trade? You can do that there. I'll teach you what you need to know. I mean, there's so many ways to go about it. But at the end of the day, you've got to want to learn, right? You've got to really want to learn. This is this thing where we talk about people become uncomfortable and they quit. Okay, guys? They become uncomfortable and they quit. Maybe back on there we go. But people become uncomfortable and they quit. This is the reality of most people today. And I'm going to say this probably to most of y'all, this is what you live with. You're like, I want to do something. And the moment it starts becoming a tad bit difficult, it starts becoming uncomfortable, you give up. And you say, I tried. I gave it my all. But did you really? No, you didn't. You're going to lie here. You're going to lie to yourself. You're going to lie to other people. You say, yeah, I did. I tried so hard. It was just too much. But most people have never been pushed beyond what they think their limit is. And here's the reality. What we think our limit is Here's where our limit really is. This is just a little bit uncomfortable, but we're taught to give up when we're uncomfortable. Because it's easier to not have to try and just say, oh, I did try and it just wasn't for me, or I couldn't figure it out, or Wall Street manipulated me, or crypto whales stole my money. It's easier to say that. It's easier to blame it on somebody else than to realize you didn't really try. And I'm going to say that till I'm blue in the face. You can get up here and cry about it all you want. Go ahead, at me on social media. Go ahead, be relentless. I don't care. You're just going to show exactly what I'm telling you. But Chris, you don't understand. You're a privileged, white, middle-aged male. Go ahead, keep coming up with excuses. You know, I've known many who weren't, who overcame the things they had to overcome to do the things that they wanted to do. You know, we sit up here and I teach you how markets work and I'll teach you how I want to do it. But at the end of the day, the biggest thing you have to overcome is yourself. Is this getting through to anybody? And I'm going to keep saying it week after week while, you know, when I get the chance here for people, as long as they're going to continue listening, I'll keep saying it. Because you have to learn that. You will not get anywhere if you don't. We're so used to people not being allowed to tell us the hard truth, not being allowed to offend us. And we're allowed to say whatever we want offends us. Stop with the nonsense. Stop making up excuses. You're only hurting yourself. Your excuses don't hurt me. They don't hurt my trading. They don't hurt my wealth. They don't hurt, you know, anything that I have. They don't hurt anybody else. They just hurt you. Your excuses are your own prison. And I'm not trying to be a motivational speaker here. I have no desire to be a motivational speaker because what happens is people get all excited when the motivational speaker's talking and whatnot. And then when it comes time for them to do the thing they have to do, they revert right back. If you wonder why you're not getting where you want to get in life right now, I can all but guarantee you it's because of what I'm talking about right now. And I want you to be successful. I want you to be able to come here and say yes, because you know what? There's too much crap going on right now, guys. There's too many, you know, strong forces out there politically and societally that are trying to keep you down. They're trying to keep you from being everything you can possibly be and more. And they try and convince you that it's okay for you to whine and complain. It's okay for you to make excuses. It's okay to blame it on somebody. As a matter of fact, you should blame it on somebody else. How dare they? Whatever it is, insert reason there. But if that's the way you're living and you're in the markets, we're going to take your lunch every day. And it's nothing personal to you, but you don't have the mindset to be able to create the success that you want as a trader. There are very few skill sets out there that you can go in, like trading, and with the right mindset, literally change your life, your lineage's life, right? But it's not going to happen for you. You have to step up and make the hard choices. And they are hard a lot of times because we're so used to being comfortable. And it's not even that we're just comfortable in the good life. We're comfortable in the bad life. We get used to the fighting and the nonsense and the constant strife that we have to deal with. We get comfortable with that. Doesn't mean that it's easy, but we're scared of the unknown. We're scared to put forth a little bit of effort. We're told that we shouldn't put forth effort. We shouldn't try. Stop letting other people determine your life for you. Decide that you want to be whatever it is that you want to be. Unless it's a dragon. You're not going to be a dragon, folks, or a cat, or a horse, or a dog. But do you want to be successful at whatever it is you want to do? Maybe it's not trading. That's fine. Whatever you want to do in life. Do you want to be successful in your relationship? You have to be proactive. You have to constantly make the decisions that matter. As long as you just sit back and let things happen to you, guess what? Nothing good is going to happen to you. I don't know how much more clear I can make that. Alt season has been here. I say alt season. Alts have been here for you to make money on since, generally speaking, June of 2023. Have you been? Have you taken advantage of that, or have you been waiting around for alt season? Bitcoin has been here making you money since 15,000 and some change. Are you constantly thinking the top is in? Are you worried the top is in constantly? You need to learn what you're doing. If you're in this market trading, why are you not out there busting your butt to learn and get off the free stuff? The free stuff is not going to really help you out for the most part. Even when it does, and we're talking about techniques and ideas with trading, right? And even when they are, you don't understand it fully enough or proper risk management enough that you can be effective with it. That's the other side of that. Even with something that isn't necessarily untruthful, if you don't understand how to do it, how to incorporate proper risk management, all those things, you might as well not even be dealing with it. But anyway, so I'm going to continue to put out stuff out there, to help you hopefully think right and understand a little bit more along the way. If you want to join us, you can do so through this weekend. After that, it's gone, and it's going to be quite a while before we have another discount. But you can use the promo code Bitcoin at members.texaswestcapital.com, and you'll get half off for as long as you stay renewed. So if you stayed renewed for a year, it would continue to renew at that same half off price, guys. If you stayed 3 years, it'd be the same thing there. But after this weekend, it goes back up to full price, and it is what it is. I don't know how much easier to make it for you. We've tried different things. We've tried free trials. People aren't serious with that. We've tried lowering the price a lot. People aren't serious with that. There comes a point where you have to figure a certain price where people that are actually going to join are serious. And you know what? This may hurt your feelings. So prepare. But if you're not interested in joining, then I don't really care what your opinion is about pricing. Like legit. And if you are, maybe you say you're interested, but the price is too high. Well, again, we go back to what I talked about making excuses. And you will never really truly understand that until you understand it, which is really a difficult thing. It's something I had to go through when I was younger. It's something everybody goes through at some point. You go, okay, well, here's the price, but man, that seems expensive. Well, no, you look at what is the return on that, right? So if you are right now not consistently profitable, and you could pay somebody to teach you how to become consistently profitable and be there to help you along the way, and then you became consistently profitable, I mean, seems to me that there's not a lot of complaining to do about pricing, whatever it happens to be, right? Bernardo's always got jokes. He says, I, for one, want it to be more expensive so less people get the alpha. If I really believed that I could do it for free and it would help, exponentially more people, I would. But we've tried these different things. It doesn't work. People aren't serious. So we're out there focusing on a specific type of person. And if you're that person, you see the opportunity, you jump on it, right? If you're not, you'll be, continue to make excuses and find reason why you can't. And what happens is you go 6 months out, a year out, 2 years out, and you're still no better off of where you were. Probably worse off, probably lost a lot more money. And I know this sounds self-serving, and it is in a way. It is, because we have a company, right? I got people to pay. But if even if you don't join TWC, hopefully this makes sense to you where it clicks for you just in life in general. Yeah, you want to know what the big players do, the wealthy people do that you don't? They pay for time. If they can pay somebody to do something for them so they don't have to do it, so they have more time, they'll do it. If they can pay somebody to teach them a thing where it takes them half the time to learn it, they do it. Because time is the most important thing out there. And when you think about it in terms of finances and trading and capital account growth, what is that time worth to you? Let's say you do it on your own and you're one of the few, you happen to be one of the few. So you're playing the odds here and you happen to be one of the few that actually figures it out on your own. So much so that you're consistently profitable. But it's 3 years from now before you do that. Or you find somebody to mentor you, to help you along the way. And in 6 months or a year, you get it figured out. Now you have 2.5 years, 2 years of an additional compounding time. What does that mean? The longer you can compound your money, the more significant the return is going to be over time. There's a lot of difference in starting today with compounding and starting in 3 years with compounding. Most people don't get that though, right? So hopefully that makes sense, guys. But yeah, again, don't join. I'm telling you right now, don't join if you're not serious. It's stupid. Why would you waste your money? But if you are serious and you think, man, this sounds like something that I can do and I can get in there, and you're willing to step up and put the time into it, I'm going to bend over backwards to help you, just like I'm doing with JoJo and Bernardo and Chris and Mark, and Arkham there. Again, Arkham's brand new. He joined a week ago. Some of these guys have been in half a year, some have been in a year, some have been in a few years. Yeah. Most of the people that join us tend to stick around. And they do so because they realize, that they're better off being a part of what we do than not. If we were a scam, if we were out there to just take your money and then not worry about it, people would not stick around. People would not stick around. So, but if you join that, again, guys, what you're really going to learn is how and why markets move the way they do. You're going to learn to understand the structure that's developing. You're going to learn to understand where liquidity is, and not just where it is, but why. I go into great detail every single time I'm talking to our students about why. Why is liquidity ending up here? What is actually going on with the market participants that is creating this here, or potentially going to create it up there? We talk about, emotions. We talk about psychology all the time. We talk about everything from trading the 15-second, 1-minute time frame to trading the hourly, the daily, the weekly, investing, longer-term trades, chart requests, chart critiques. Along the way, you need to have somebody that can tell you, listen, you're doing it right, or you need to work on this here, or this is not right because of this. When you're learning, it increases just how quickly you're going to learn and how much better you're going to learn it. We have that. You get my analysis. I do a nightly market wrap. I do multiple updates for Bitcoin every day during the weekdays. But you also get our head traders, Vince and Andrew, and you get their analysis throughout the days, and you get what charts they're looking at and where they're looking to potentially enter and their targets and the trades they're in. We've got hundreds and hundreds and hundreds of hours of educational content in our vault that you get access to. Plus you get an hour on Mondays learning Wyckoff with me, live. Hour on Wednesdays learning price action, an hour on Thursdays learning Elliott wave. You get live trading. And I've said it's an hour, but we usually generally there 3 hours a day. Monday, Tuesday, and Thursday mornings, right? You also get Fibbo's threshold theory. You learn how to do that. Plus you get his trades. We give you so much more than anybody else out there gives you. And the stuff we teach actually works, guys. It doesn't work in just a specific market. It doesn't work sometimes. It's all the time. You will be a better trader if you're willing to come in and put in the work. Can't do it for you. Yeah, you get Bernardo's bad jokes and you get my singing sometimes. I do tend to sing sometimes during the live trading, right? Sometimes during the sessions too, the live sessions though, but our goal is to help you become the best trader you can possibly be. But we can't make you that trader. You have to actually do that work there. Okay? Look at Jojo Crowder. He says, but wait, there's more. Kidding. There's seriously so much on TWC. You know, these guys are telling you what's up. Just do it for a month. Try it for a month. You're going to be Florian. He made it on last week. I think it was last week's stream. He said up there, he said, listen, I've been here for a month now and I've learned more in the month than I have in the last 2 years outside of TWC. We get you focused on what you need to know, but not just what, the how and the why. Because if you can understand the how and the why, you're going to be much more effective when you're trying to trade out there. But we also get you off the nonsense that you think, as just a beginning trader, right? Again, guys, I'm going to tell you, I've talked to thousands and thousands of traders. It's my 31st year trading, 31 years. You have to have figured it out to stick around for 31 years, guys. And the one thing I found out is the same things I thought when I first started in 1995. 1990, yeah, I guess 95, yeah. Are the exact same things, almost to the T, that pretty much every new retail trader thinks in every market. Futures, stocks, Forex, crypto, everything. There's nothing special. Crypto is not special. You trade it the same way you trade other markets. The same type of person, when they first enter markets into crypto, is the same type of person that enters all the other markets. Right? So the sooner you can figure that out, the sooner you start learning, you can go, okay, well, I'm wrong in thinking this. So what's the right way to think? Where do I need to focus my energy? How do I need to focus so that I can do the things I need to do to be successful as a trader rather than the things I think I need to do or the things that everybody else is doing when everybody else basically is losing money? These are facts, guys. So I didn't mean for this to turn into a bit of an infomercial. I guess it has, but but I think sometimes people need to be told, right? We as human beings, sometimes we need to be told, listen, we're not thinking right. Now, if we choose to listen to that or not, it's up to you to figure out. But you won't ever be able to say, listen, I didn't know. You can't come back a year later after hearing this and go, well, I didn't know I had to think about it this way. Or I didn't know that I was thinking about it wrong. Because I'm telling you right now, you're not going to get rich overnight in the markets. And the sooner you get that out of your head and you start understanding the long game, the sooner you're going to get to the point where you can actually start being consistently profitable. But if you don't figure it out, you're going to lose all your money. And I'm going to tell you what, I have no problem at all taking that money. And neither does anybody else. And neither does Peter Brandt or anybody else in here that have figured it out. Because you're entering the market. You're expected to understand the rules and how it works. You're expected to have it figured out. Does that make sense? Colton, what's up, man? You just joined? Finally talked you into it? Hey, man. Excited to have you there. Excited to have you there. Watch the welcome video. Go through your checklist. Do all that. I'm telling you guys, if you're joining, say hi in the chat. Just say hi to everybody. These guys will jump right on you. They're excited to have somebody else in there who's excited about learning how to trade, who wants to trade alongside them. But once you go through the welcome video, start with the basics video collection, and then go into the Wyckoff. From the Wyckoff, go into the price action. For the price action, then go into Elliott Wave. Make sure you join, if you can join the live trading session. The live educational sessions on Monday, Wednesday, and Thursday afternoons. Do so. If you can't, they're always recorded and posted in there for you, so you can watch them when you can. If you have time to join in with the live trading on Mondays, Tuesdays, and Thursdays, do so. You don't have to, you don't have to trade, but you get to see how thought happens during that time. You can see what we're thinking about, right? And sometimes the trading doesn't go good. Now, since we started this in April, we're well up, but some days, some weeks are just not that great. But we get to go and I'll talk to you and tell you, here's what I did wrong. Here's where we need to learn. Here's where we need to adjust. Yeah. And then, of course, jump in and see Fibbo. Say hi to him. But yeah, when you guys get in there, if you're just joining, watch the welcome video. It gives you like a quick over of the platform or whatever, when the times for the things are. I've still got to update that, but you get pretty much everything in there. And then go through the foundations videos, go through the Wyckoff course, go through the price action course, then go through the Elliott Wave course. Do it in that order, because Wyckoff gives you that entry into price action and volume relationships. And that's something I use even in price action alone and even in Elliott Wave. But with all of them, I don't just say, listen, you're going to learn Wyckoff. No, we learn those to understand how liquidity is created and where it's created and how to identify it and how to trade toward it. And so with everything we do, I'm always bringing it all back together. So you're not coming into TWC just to learn Elliott Wave and Wyckoff and price action. You're going to learn them, but you're going to learn how they all together, with their different ways of looking at it, how they all show you where that liquidity is happening and how that structure forms and how to, understand how to get into a trade, how to do proper risk management so you can stay in even when you're making mistakes. Right? All right. Anyway, Colton, excited to see you joining in there, man. And everybody else that jumps in as well. Like I said, this weekend, that's it. The promo code will be gone. It's Bitcoin. Get in for half off. And then just, soak up everything you can and make friends while you're there. We've got people from all over the world. We've got them from South America. We got them from Mexico. We got them from Canada, the UK. We got them from Denmark. We got them from Croatia. We got them from Japan. We've got Australia. So don't let the idea that you're in some other part of the world keep you from doing it, because I'm there to help you. You're not on your own when you're there. All right. Anyway, I hope you guys have a great weekend. I hope you take some time off from the charts. Again, I think overall we continue to have higher. This has not been sell in May and go away this year. The markets have continued to rally. Stock market, Bitcoin, crypto even, right? The rest of crypto alts, especially more recently here. So again, with where we're looking at here, things could get interesting next week. Don't forget, we have Fed speakers on the 30th. And then we've got, I think that crypto, what was that? Not Bill, but that crypto report is coming out, I think, on the same day there on the 30th. Also, don't forget, next Friday is going to be jobs data here in the U.S. So not that it defines a trend. News events are always intra-trend, guys. So, they give you knee-jerk reactions on shorter time frames, but overall, whatever trend is already established continues. So don't think that, whatever news comes out changes the trend. And you need to understand what the trend is so that you're always trading on the right side of that trend. All right? So you guys have a great weekend. Trade safe. As always, remember the only thing you control is how much you lose. So please keep working on that risk management. By the way, make sure you've signed up at hashandhedge.substack.com. That's my personal newsletter where I put in my thoughts about Bitcoin, about proof of work, even about writing. Just what thoughts I have as I have them. I've got a longer Bitcoin piece that I'm going to release this weekend. If you're wondering, are we in a Bitcoin super cycle? No, we're not. But I do discuss what's required to be in one and that we could potentially get into one. And this is what we need to see. I also will be talking about in that I don't know what you want to call it. I don't call it an article, but that thing I'm going to be writing, looking at Bitcoin. Is Bitcoin currently already being integrated into that base layer for the global financial system? And what does that mean? And what does either or of those things mean in terms of price? Because they both mean something different from where we may see price coming up. So hashandhedge.substack.com. If you need an easier way to do it, you can go to themarketbreakdown.com, sign up for that newsletter, and then it'll give you my other newsletters that are in there that you can join as well, and that should be one of them that shows up. Yeah, I think you guys are really going to like it. And in either case, whether it's super cycle or the other one, I think you guys are ultimately going to like the way that that I've envisioned that it'll likely turn out. So do that. All right. Y'all have a great weekend. Trade safe. And man, oh man, I'm going to get out of here. I hope I see some of y'all joining up this weekend. We'd love to welcome you in and get you going in the right way with trading, so that you can start seeing some consistent success, and start feeling excited about trading and excited about the markets. All right. Take care, everybody. Thank you so much for joining. Hit the like, hit the thumbs up, guys. Share the link. I would appreciate that. Take care.